I mean, maybe listen just in case. Get it? The docket is gold. My pockets are swole. Stop, drop, and roll. At lock, I'm the gold. It doesn't get old. Each episode, I just download. I'm just a fella that's hella intelligent now that I got me the code. Build me a yellow brick road. Hey, chillin', feelin'. How could I be this gifted? Millions, reelin'. Frying up all of these fish sticks. Enter all these competitions. I ain't seen no competition. Justice served can't stop the system. I suggest y'all stop and listen. Please rise, sit down. Pot is in session, get rich now. Invest in the best, yes. The investigator is nothing but fresh. Please rise, sit down. Pot is in session, get rich now. Go by the book, yeah. The lawyer is loyal, now come take a look. Go.
Okay, let's go. Welcome to the DFS Docket on sportsradiodetroit.com, sidelinesquib.com. Abe, the DFS detective, Josh Faber here with you. Week 14, playoff time. It's for most of you, playoffs have started for your redraft, dynasty, keeper, league, whatever it is. It's playoff time. It's the heat of it. You're like, woo! Dude, I'm excited. I'm in like 6 leagues, and like 3 of them I don't care about, so I'm already out of the playoffs. Like, I don't care about them. 2 of them, I got my first round buys. 1 of them, this week, it's winner get in.
Yeah, but I just gotta call you out if I can. There is a league that I
better not be in the Sideline Squib Listener League.
There is a league that I believe you care about, the Sideline Squib Listener League, with a lot of the hosts from this station, and yours truly came back from I think I was 0-4, and I made the playoffs. I think I finished off with a 4-game streak. You didn't do so well in that league this year. It's a tough league. It's a tough league.
It is. There's some smart people in this league. And then there's people like myself that aren't very smart. So you gotta deal with that. I mean, I'm pulling up the standings from that league right now.
Let's see.
And you know what's most impressive about that league? It is incredibly difficult to go 13-0. Yes. No matter what league you're in, no matter what level of competition. Because let's be real, we're in a 12-team league, and there's some very smart people in this league.
Yes.
And
there are no slouches in this league.
No, none whatsoever. And for your mom's cheeseburger, which is probably top 10 names of all time for a fantasy football team, for your mom's cheeseburger to go 13-0, and not only go 13-0, but score the most points by over 300 points is incredibly impressive.
I give him credit. I have to thank him. I think he's the one that gave me Dalvin Cook. I did give him Josh Allen, which has helped him a lot along the way. And I believe he's a listener, Cheeseburger. So kudos to you, Cheeseburger.
If he's not, he better be. Like, what the hell? How do you get into a listener league and not be a damn listener?
Right. Well, he could be a host, and I don't think he's one of the hosts.
All hosts listen to all the shows, so that's a non.
Good for you, Cheeseburger. Congrats to you. But I'm looking to take you down in the finals.
I only missed out on the playoffs by 1 game, so it wasn't like I was completely out of it.
No, you weren't trash. It was a tough league, though.
And granted, for most of the season, my RB2 is Boston Scott. So I didn't exactly draft very well.
I overcame. I think I for sure had Saquon in this league. I think I had Courtland Sutton too. So I overcame a lot.
Yeah, well, I guess there's no overcoming Boston Scott. So
it's tough.
There's that. We got a great show for you tonight, as always. If you listen to us, if you're watching us live on YouTube, thank you. We appreciate it. Ask us every question you got. Make sure to follow us on Twitter at DFS_Docket. Check out AJ at Josh at JFaber43. The best, not only DFS, but Dynasty and redraft and everything you can think of fantasy football comes through us. I mean, it's just real. Like, I ain't gonna lie to you. We are the best in the business. So make sure to come to us for everything. All questions you have, we promise we answer everything. We get messages all throughout the day. Send them our way. We promise to respond to almost all of you. If you ask me a stupid question, I'm not going to respond. Although I'll probably call you stupid, like, because I mean,
we might respond. We'll just call you stupid.
Right. I won't give you advice. No, I will. That's a lie. That's a lie. I'll still give you good advice. I actually came across a dilemma not too long ago, and I like your opinion on it. A coworker of mine, a former coworker, asked me for some fantasy advice.
Okay.
Now, this coworker of mine and I weren't exactly best of friends. Let's just put it like that. He wasn't a fan of my work per se, and he texted me a couple weeks ago asking for fantasy advice. So do I go? And there's no like bridges that need to be rebuilt or anything like that. It just at this point it just is what it is. Do we go and just say, hey, screw you, I'll give you the worst advice. Yeah, go start Mitch Trubisky every week. Great idea. Hey, here's a stud idea. Go start Christian McCaffrey the last 4 weeks. All right, go get him, Tiger. Either that, or do I give him legitimate fantasy advice? Now, before you answer, I'll tell you what I did. I gave the legitimate advice because it's just not in me to screw around with a guy like that. But it was definitely a thought that went through my head.
You're a man of the people. I get it.
It is. Someone asked today, like, what's your favorite part about hosting a podcast? And realistically, it's not even like if my teams do well. It's that if whatever we discuss, whatever advice we're giving, pays off for other people. Like I absolutely love when I'm right about Aaron Rodgers. Love it. Absolutely love it. Even if I don't play him, even if I'm playing against him in a league, if I'm right about it and someone puts him in their DraftKings lineup and wins money because of it, I am thrilled about it.
You know what? I'm with you. I love it. I love, we give a lot of advice on this show. Obviously, that's what the whole show is. We give lineups for the listeners, and there's nothing better than when I play every lineup that I give. Right? I play a lot of lineups, but I am playing the lineup that I give every week. And when that lineup hits, like it did last week, especially, I love it. And by the way, if you're listening, call in, text in, message us right now. Tell us. I want to feel good about myself. Tell me you played that lineup and that you played it in the Millie Maker and you made $100 because that's what I did.
Absolutely.
So,
absolutely. YouTube Live right now. That's where we are. So make sure you can see our pretty faces. And then if you're not watching live, well, you should be. So there's always that. You can always watch it later on YouTube, or you can find us on everywhere where you find podcasts, Podbean, Spotify, iTunes, wherever you may happen to listen to your podcast. And don't forget to check out Steve and Andrew at the Sideline Squib, who are putting out great content week in, week out. I know they got the Scott Fish Bowl playoffs coming up, and they're pretty pumped about that. Well, not Steve so much; he didn't make it, but I know Andrew's pretty pumped about it. Let's move on from that, and let's get into headlines.
Here are tonight's top stories.
All right, so we got three things we really want to talk about in headlines tonight. The first that I wanted to discuss was Joe Mixon. Joe Mixon is going to be out again this week. He is coming off of IR, but Coach Zach Taylor has already said he's going to be missing this week. Is Joe Mixon a guy you can trust going into playoff weeks 15, championship week 16? And the second question to that is Gio Bernard. Is Gio Bernard a guy you're trusting? Now, I can tell you this week against Dallas, after what we saw Baltimore, who granted is a great running offense, but after seeing what Baltimore did to Dallas' defense, I am all in on Gio Bernard this week. I'm playing him in multiple leagues, and I'm absolutely, and we're going to get into it later, absolutely playing Gio Bernard in my DraftKings lineup.
I'm staying away from Gio. Gio has let me down big time. In season long, I've had to play him a couple times. I had him backing up Joe Mixon. Obviously, Mixon hasn't been playing. But, Gio has had a couple really nice games this season. But I think he's tricking people here. I mean, again, we'll get into the running back spot later, but first couple weeks, didn't really do much. Then you get into week 6, he finally breaks double digits, 7 and 8, back-to-back 20-point games. But since week 10, so week 10, 11, 12, 13, he hasn't had 10 points, and he's been the full-time starter in all of those games. No competition. There's nobody else taking snaps from him. He's not really getting it done with carries. He's only getting around 10 carries a game. In fact, he had 12 carries last week, but before that, he hadn't broken 10 carries since week 8. He isn't averaging in any of those games more than 4 points a game, more than 4 yards a carry. he's not getting really targeted much the last two games either. You know, week 11 he had 5 targets, week 10 he had 7, but in week 13 and 12 he only had 2 or 3 targets. So Gio's burned me too much. It's Dallas, so you never know, right? I mean, if you're in the NFL and you're a running back, you should put up points against Dallas. But I'm just not investing in a guy like Gio. He's $5,000 on DraftKings. That's cheap, but that's not super duper cheap. I feel like there's money better spent than Gio, who has just let us all down for 5 weeks straight.
Yeah, like I said, I'm in on Gio this week. For the going forward, I don't know, but definitely this week against Dallas. And look, realistically, he's only $5,000 on DraftKings also, so it's not like you're investing a whole lot. I think he can easily run for 75 and a score against a pissed poor Cowboys defense. The other running back issue that we have this week, Antonio Gibson, it hurts me so bad. I absolutely love Antonio Gibson. It's what is it, like turf toe, which always sounds so weak. Like
it sounds so weak, but that could be a month.
Dude, I know when a guy goes down with a turf toe injury, you're just like your toe hurts and you're an NFL player. Like grow up here. Like Jay Cutler basically tore his ACL in the NFC title game. Came out of the game and people are like, that guy's a wimp. Like play through it. But like, oh, your big toe hurts, Antonio Gibson. Why didn't you take a couple weeks off? Like it doesn't make any sense. But I get it. Those things are so incredibly painful. So
by the way, I want to show Steve a little love. Steve was giving us a little shout out on the.
Oh, Steve's our guy.
Love Steve.
Steve's our guy. We're getting questions pouring in. That we'll get to shortly. But Antonio Gibson, I absolutely love him. It's such a shame. He's the RB6 on the season. He's exceeded expectations. He's going to be out this week. I have a strong feeling we've seen the last of Antonio Gibson in 2020.
We might have. They're definitely going to want to keep him fresh. Unfortunately for me, we were talking about the Squib League there. He's an RB1 on the season, but he was my RB2 with Dalvin. I rode them to the playoffs, and I don't know. Looks like I'm going Ronald Jones in his place. So
barf, heavy barf.
Yeah.
Are you playing Peyton Barber or J.D. McKissick at all? Now McKissick's more interesting than Barber to me because McKissick is that PPR machine. He's that guy that Alex Smith has been checking it down to. He had 8 catches this past week against Pittsburgh. He's been phenomenal. His numbers aren't like astronomically crazy, but at the end of the day, with the PPR, he's putting up real good numbers. Peyton Barber, on the other hand, is going to be the guy that takes over for Antonio Gibson in the run game more. Now, to me, I'm more on the McKissick train than the Peyton Barber train. I think McKissick ends up getting more of the workload in the run game. I think Peyton Barber ends up being just the goal line back, which has value, but not somebody I'm going to rely on.
Yeah, I mean, in an Alex Smith offense especially, give me J.D. McKissick. I agree with you that Peyton Barber probably takes more over the running role, but, part of what makes Gibson so great in that offense is his speed, and that's not what Gibson has. So I'm not expecting similar production out of Barber as we got out of Gibson, that's for sure.
Okay. Last big thing we got to talk about is the Philadelphia Eagles and the dumpster fire that they are and the dumpster fire that is their quarterback position. Carson Wentz benched, Jalen Hurts in. What's that do for the entire offense? Is there really anybody on that offense that you are willing to start in a playoff matchup this week, including Miles Sanders?
Including Miles Sanders, which I don't think Miles Sanders is not a must start anymore. No. The short answer is no. The only to give you a more nuanced answer, I guess if I'm in the 2 quarterback league and I'm in the playoffs and I need a second quarterback, then I could throw Jalen Hurts in there just to kind of see what to see what he can do, because if you have a second quarterback, you always play him in a 2 quarterback league. But outside of that, no. Just no. There's not a lot you're going to like on that offense. I feel bad for Carson. He has regressed, I think, a fair amount. But to be totally honest,
a tremendous amount.
But it's not fair. He every single play he's about to get sacked. He is hurried on every play. He is right now that I saw a stat 10 consecutive games in which he has been sacked at least 3 times. I think the record since like the merger is 11. And now we're at 10 consecutive games that he's been sacked at least 3 times. And he hit that 3rd sack in the middle of the 2nd quarter last week. I mean, it's funny how quick you go from having one of the best offensive lines in football to, how quick, you go from one of the best to one of the worst. But I mean, I feel bad for Carson, but I mean, you got to just try to do something to shake up that offense.
Look, I think the problem with Wentz is that ever since his injury, he's become more jittery, where he's in the pocket. And Jalen Hurts is the same way. I've always said this about Jalen Hurts. Jalen Hurts is a one-read quarterback. He looks at one target, he stares him down the whole time, and if he doesn't have it, he tucks and runs. And Carson Wentz wasn't always like that. Carson Wentz's internal clock has sped up. He used to be a guy that could sit in the pocket, move around, run when he needs to, and sling the ball around. And that internal clock has quickly deteriorated to the fact that he's the same thing as Jalen Hurts. He has that one option. It's not there. Oh, crap, I got to go. When that's not always the case. You see him tucking and running a lot more than you have previously with Carson Wentz.
But in fairness to him, that pocket's collapsing a lot quicker than it used to.
It is. I'm not questioning that. And granted, he doesn't exactly have the receivers, NFL quality receivers, that are able to get open by themselves. Like, who's the best receiver? Travis Fulgham, who I think is a bum. He had 2 good games, and everyone jumped on the Travis Fulgham bandwagon.
Right.
I've never touched that bandwagon. Alshon Jeffrey only has 1 shoulder left, so forget that. And Greg Ward is a freaking quarterback. So right. I mean, granted, he doesn't exactly have the best options out there, but he just looks so nervous in the pocket.
Sure.
Before we get,
and by the way,
yeah.
Steve just pointed out, and he's right. Week 14 is a tough matchup against NOLA, but 15, 16, 17, Arizona, Dallas, and then Washington, and those are some good playoff matchups.
Washington's a good defense. All right,
Washington's a good defense.
Let me ask you this real quick. Yeah, just be Pittsburgh. Let me ask you this real quick. You're talking about Jalen Hurts possibly as a QB2. I wouldn't start him as a QB2. Would you start him over Derek Carr? Spitfire. Jalen Hurts, Derek Carr versus Indy.
Give me Derek Carr this week.
Jared Barr versus New England.
Give me Goff.
Cam Newton at the Rams.
Give me Cam.
Teddy versus Denver.
Well, because his whole receiving core is COVID, give me Jalen.
Okay, I disagree there. Okay, Baker versus Baltimore. Take your buys from Baker away. Baker, who just had a game of his life.
Give me Baker. Give me Baker.
I thought so. The point pretty much is a lot of those guys are QB2-ish levels, and most of them you're going to play over Jalen Hurts. So I just don't see any position whatsoever that you can play Jalen Hurts. All right, our boy Derek's got a question for us. What's up, fellas? Do I stay true to Russ Wilson going against the Jets, even though he's been a dumpster fire, or do I finally start Ryan Tannehill? Well, first of all, Derek, let me tell you this. Not only has Russell Wilson been a dumpster fire, but the New York Jets are a dumpster fire. And it is completely clear that they're trying to lose games. Thank you, Greg Williams. I really, truly appreciate what you did for us on that last play of the game. You have to start Russell Wilson this week. Look, you're in the playoffs, you're probably in the playoffs, or maybe you got 1 week left before the playoffs. Either way, Russell Wilson's your star. Russell Wilson's going up against one of the worst defenses in all of football. How do you not start him? How do you not start him this week? Tannehill, I get it. Great matchup at Jacksonville. The problem, though, still is that that's a run first, run second, run third offense. And Derrick Henry, he had a bad game last week, which is completely rare for Derrick Henry in December. Derrick Henry this week is going to run for over 200 yards. He's going to just go absolutely berserk on Jacksonville's defense to the point where Ryan Tannehill might only throw the ball 12 times.
Yeah, I mean, I agree with you. I expect Tannehill to have a pretty nice game this week, but look, there's no question they've been trying to take the ball a little bit out of Russ's hands, not make him do as much, but he's still going up against the Jets. I believe they still have the worst pass defense in the league, and I just think if there's a get-right game, it's this one. If he lets you down here, maybe we talk, but I think, Derek, I would tell you, brother, roll with Russ this weekend. If there's a week to do it, it's this weekend, and and ride into the next round of your playoffs.
Look, Tannehill might have a good game. I just don't think the quantity of passing attempts are going to be there for him. I think they're going to be up early in this game, and they're just going to keep running the ball because I don't see a reason why they wouldn't.
Right? No, I agree.
All right, let's get to this week's topics. Let's get to our DraftKings lineups. We start, as always, with the quarterback position. Patrick Mahomes is your top guy at $8,100, followed by Russell Wilson at $79, Deshaun Watson at $76. Josh, where are you leaning this week with the quarterback position?
I mean, I think there is, as usual, the top guys are probably, going to perform. I might stay away from Russ just because of how he's kind of performed lately. But he's going up against the Jets. $8,100 from Mahomes. He's not a terrible price for Mahomes. But Miami also let's not forget, Miami does have a pretty good defense as well. Even though he's coming in cheaper than he was last week against Denver, it's a much tougher defense as well. Of course, I like your boy Aaron Rodgers to just beat up on my guys. Regardless of how motivated the Lions are with the finally, God bless it, firing of, which we didn't talk about in headlines, but the firing of Matt Patricia and the firing of,
we would have talked about that last week.
Right. But either way, so finally we did it. Thank you to
how does that feel? Because I'm never going to feel that when a coach should be fired and they actually let him go.
I didn't know how to feel. It's like, I'll tell you, it's like when I have 3 kids, my 2 oldest are girls, and I have a young boy. And when I found out that I was having a son, everyone was like, "How does it feel?" And I was like, I didn't know how I was supposed to feel. Like, I was like so shocked that I was having a son. Same thing here. I was just so shocked that they finally made a mid-season move in the way that a team would that expects to win. That, I'm not saying we should expect to win, but that's what a winning team would do. You're not winning, you fire that coach. And we did it, and I didn't even know how to feel. I was happy, but I was almost in disbelief. But either way, whether we win or lose this game, Aaron Rodgers is going to feast against the Lions, as he always does. So Aaron Rodgers, I think, is a really good play this week. And, a guy that you and I have been on all season. Well, I was on all season. You finally came around on him.
Yeah, I did.
And last week he let us down. But if there's going to be
that might be the understatement of the year, counselor.
Yeah, seriously. But if there's going to be a bounce back game, it's going to be our boy Justin Herbert throwing to Keenan Allen, throwing to Mike Williams. Abysmal Atlanta defense. Give me Justin Herbert here all day, man.
Yeah, I love Justin Herbert this week against Atlanta. Like, how do you not love Justin Herbert against Atlanta this week?
Have to.
You have to. Let me ask you this: revenge game. Andy Dalton at $5,500 back in Cincinnati.
Yeah. He's Andy Dalton. He's yeah. Look, if you want to go cheap at quarterback this week, that's a good play. That's a good cheap play at quarterback. But let me ask you this: Do you like Andy Dalton, or for $1,000 less, you want to go Tua against Kansas City? You know they're going to be throwing it.
I don't know if Tua is actually going to play a full game. If they're down that much, they might put Fitzpatrick back in there.
Right.
Or we got another revenge game. Alex Smith at San Francisco.
Oh, that's right.
It's revenge week. Revenge week in the NFL.
You know what, Alex Smith? He's not my guy in fantasy, but good for him. Good for he's been playing well. He's gotten them in the tie for first place. he's doing the Alex Smith thing, so good for him.
Check down machines. Look, Mahomes obviously love, and you know what? This might be the week to spend up on him because he's not a tremendously high number. But how you stay away from Aaron Rodgers, who we'll get to later. Spoiler alert: Aaron Rodgers is part of my stack of the week. But how you don't put Aaron Rodgers against Green Bay is just insane. And yeah, Justin Herbert. It's not Justin Herbert I expect a bounce back week. It's that he's playing against the Falcons, who can't stop anybody. So yeah, I'm completely with you on that. Guys I'm staying away from this week. Kyler Murray, he just does not seem like himself. So I'm staying away from him. Deshaun Watson against Chicago, staying away from him. It's just not worth the price. Deshaun Watson for 7,600 or Aaron Rodgers at 75. It's not even comparable.
Yeah.
It's not. Matt Ryan against the Chargers. I know the Chargers looked like absolute garbage last week, but Matt Ryan against the Chargers, I just don't. I'm dying. I just don't trust him.
Me too. I'm dying over here. I'm sneezing. I'm blowing my nose.
I can't. I just got something like stuck in my throat. I just can't get it out. I was about to text. My son is upstairs. I was gonna text him. Can you bring me a drink? And then I realized he's 9 and he doesn't have a cell phone.
Well, it's good parenting because most people his age probably already do.
I know. I'm just cheap and Jewish, so I'm not getting him one.
No, I agree with you.
Anybody you're staying away from besides those guys?
Yeah, I'm staying away from Deshaun. I think that's a good call there. Kirk Cousins against that Tampa defense. It's a very, very good defense. That's a perfect game for Kirk Cousins to just crap the bet on. We brought it up before, but Derek Carr against Indy too. I gotta love Indy's defense this week against Vegas, and I'm sorry to say this to our boy Steve over there, but I'm staying away from Carr this week.
Yep.
By the way, speaking of Aaron Rodgers, have you seen his picture on the DraftKings, his avatar, whatever you call that, his little picture there?
I'm pulling it up right now.
Go click on it.
Is it spectacular?
He just looks like he's 80.
Yeah. You know who he looks like?
Look at that gray beard and a little combed over hair, and a long mustache.
He looks like Andy Bernard from The Office.
He looks like Andy Bernard from The Office if Andy Bernard lived in the wilderness next to the Unabomber.
Which, towards the end of the show, he kind of did.
Right.
Back from the boat and all that. So he kind of did. All right, I'm going to skip that question because we'll talk about that when we get to the receivers, Derek. But let's get to the running backs. Top-ranked guy, Dalvin Cook, $9,400 at a very good Tampa Bay rush defense. Christian McCaffrey, who was back from a shoulder injury, but
now he's not.
Now he's got a hurt thigh. Look, at some point, you just got to shut McCaffrey down for the year. It's a lost year. I get it. He's probably the best player in the NFL at the position, the most unique. It's been a rough year for him. It's just time to shut it down. The season's over. You're a 3-4 win team. Just shut it down. After McCaffrey, you got Derrick Henry at 87, then a big drop off down to Aaron Jones against those great Lions defense at $7,600. So besides Aaron Jones, who I know you want to play as well, where else are you going?
Yeah, let's just make it a given. Aaron Jones is going to have a good game. Everybody. I'm looking at the mid-level guys this week. I mean, Dalvin Cook, I love. We've talked about how to get value out of Dalvin to get that 3x on his salary. That's tough against Tampa's. Second
got a really good run defense.
They're the second hardest team to run against in fantasy. For $9,400, I mean, Dalvin Cook isn't going to have a 30-point game. I just don't see it. Kind of moving down the list a little bit, looking at some of these more mid-level guys. I really like David Montgomery this week. Houston doesn't do a really good job of stopping the run. And David Montgomery is a guy who you knew I used to love to hate. He's a guy now, man. He plays. He's a player. 28 points.
He had so much opportunity in Chicago.
Yeah, and just 28 points against Green Bay, 27 the next week against my boys, the Lions. Now up against Houston. I expect him to have a nice game against Houston as well. And he's really moderately priced. His salary's coming. We always make fun of the DraftKings pricing. Why guys on IR are $10,000, but guys that are killing it aren't. They priced him up. They did a nice job pricing him up at $6,500. But I mean, I don't think a 20-point game is out of the realm of possibility.
Not against the Houston defense.
Yeah, not against the Houston defense at all. Another team that I really like against, if he plays, Myles Gaskin. KC also does not really stop the run too well. Came back last week after missing about 5 weeks and kind of picked up right where he left off. 15 points. Salvin Ahmed is not playing this week again.
What a name, Ahmed. By the way, there's only one show in the fantasy world that's going to pronounce that guy's name.
Well, you're going to get the Ach. You're going to get the Ahmed.
Only here are you getting the correct Ahmed.
Right. But so he's out. That's Myles Gaskin's backfield again on his own. 20 carries, 90 yards, and had a nice game. If he didn't have that fumble, he would have had a 17-point game. And that was even without scoring. So I like Gaskin this year kind of as a low price guy. And then the guy that I absolutely love this week, I can't figure out why he's priced so low. The guy who finally, after just being so misused by his team, is back at it, and that's Jonathan Taylor. He had 2 weeks ago, had 20-plus carries. Last week, only 13 carries, but 90 yards, 3 catches for another 44 yards and a touchdown, putting up over 20 points. The guy's only priced at he only went up $100 in price against a Vegas team that isn't too good against the run either. And I expect Jonathan Taylor to have a great game. Season long, play him. I'll tell you this. I'll go on record. Jonathan Taylor will be a top 10 running back this week in fantasy, and he's only priced at $5,800. Get him in your lineup.
Yeah, I'm going to disagree with you about Jonathan Taylor because in the first half of that game, he had three carries. So I don't know. I just don't trust Frank Reich. Their goal line back is also bless you. Is also Jacoby Brissett. So I don't completely. I'm just not there on Jonathan Taylor being that guy yet. Thoughts on David Montgomery? We kind of talked to him a little bit.
Yeah, I think that's a good question. Like I said, save some coin there and get him in your lineups.
Absolutely.
The worst run defense, $6,500. You could easily make 3x on that.
At 100%, 100%. And Steve likes Jonathan Taylor this week, probably because he knows he's going to run all over Vegas. But I just for all I know, Jordan Wilkins gets 18 touches. Naheem Hines has 20 touches. I just don't know anything inside the 2. It's Jacoby Brissett. So I had Jonathan Taylor. I'm starting him on my redraft team. I just don't know if I can trust him to be that guy, and I don't know if I'm willing to spend up to get him.
Well, that's the thing, though. It's not really a spend up. It's
no, I know
$5,800. I mean,
okay. So this guy I love at his price point. Kenyon Drake at $5,500, even less than Jonathan Taylor. I talked about Kyler Murray and how he's hurt. The Giants' defense, their run defense in particular, is 25th against fantasy running backs this year. Kenyon Drake has proven to be the go-to guy. Even though I'm a huge Chase Edmonds fan, Kenyon Drake has shown if he's healthy, he's playing, he's the number one guy. And he's shown to be the goal line guy also. I really think Kenyon Drake's going to have one of these games where he goes 14 carries, 85 yards, 2 touchdowns with another 3 catches and 30 yards to go on as well.
Well, I think Drake is a good play this year, but let me throw out some names ahead of Jonathan Taylor in price.
Hey, Steve, don't be proud that you should have lost to the Jets, okay, buddy?
let me throw some names and numbers out there. You tell me what you think. All right, Mike Davis at 6,400 or JT at 58.
JT, because I don't like the matchup against Denver.
Alexander Madison at 6,400.
That's just stupid because Alexander Madison's not even the number one back.
Exactly. What about your boy Josh Jacobs? In that
Josh
same
Jacobs has already been ruled out for this week.
Right. Okay. Mostert 6,200.
So I promise you, do not play Josh Jacobs this week.
Mostert at 6,200 against Washington. No, Washington's got a great run defense.
I'll probably take Jonathan Taylor there.
Miles Sanders against New Orleans.
No, I'm not touching Miles. Miles Sanders is absolutely not going to be in anything I like this week. All right. Okay. So let me ask you this: Jonathan Taylor or Adrian Peterson? Adrian Peterson, $5,000. Now I know second half of this game is going to be a blowout. Stafford's going to have to throw the ball around. But you know what? Peterson's going to get 17 carries this week. And he's going to run for 60-plus yards, and he'll probably fall into the end zone at least once.
I'm going to go on record again.
That's a really bad Green Bay defense. Running.
It is, but I'll go on record again. JT top 10 week this week. All
right, let's go with it. What one other guy I really like, Derrick Henry. I mean, how do you not just absolutely love that guy this week? And a guy I mentioned earlier in Gio Bernard, I love at $5,000 against Dallas, who is a piss poor defense. All right, we go to the wide receivers. Devontae Adams. Again, this Packers team is, despite what people think, they are loaded on offense. Tyreek Hill. By the way, this Tyreek Hill Patrick Mahomes play, the touchdown that didn't happen, because of it, I have Mahomes on my team, on a lot of my teams actually, and because of that, those 4 points I didn't get, and it would have been even more because of the passing yard. But because of that, I lost my matchup by less than 1 point and did not make the playoffs because of that one play. There's nothing more infuriating than like.
I lost a three team parlay because of that, and I told my buddies, I said, I'm just going to sue the NFL for blowing that call.
I'm just going to sue the NFL. So Adams, Tyreek Hill, DK Metcalf, Keenan Allen, Keenan Allen is just a freaking monster. DeAndre Hopkins, and then while we have that, we do have a question. Is T.Y. Hilton, so let's start with this before we get into our regular guys, is T.Y. Hilton becoming dependable? Because I'll tell you this right now, the flat answer is no chance, absolutely not, zero, hell no. And oh, by the way, if you didn't know this, no. Yeah,
I mean, he certainly had 2 legit games the past 2 weeks. But I don't know. It's tough. No. Dependable, I don't know. If I have him in season long, do I have 3 better options than him? Yeah, well, probably you do if you made it to the playoffs. But I don't know. I mean, I'm coming around a little bit. Is he dependable? No. Is it a risk? Yeah, but is it a risk that could pay off? Certainly could.
No, I'm sorry. I can't touch T.Y.
But here's the big thing. 2 weeks ago against Tennessee, he only had 4 catches. One of them happened to be a 50-yard bomb. So that kind of boosts everything. But last week, 11 targets and 8 catches. I mean, if he's going to get targeted 10 times a game, he's going to perform.
Here's when I play T.Y. Hilton, and there's only one way, only one chance to play T.Y. Hilton, and that's against the Houston Texans. Because against the Houston Texans, T.Y. Hilton throughout his career has been an absolute star. The guy's been a stud against the Texans, and he proved it this past week, going 8 for 110-1. So next week, against the Texans, if you don't have any better options, yeah. Any other matchup than against the Texans, no chance in hell.
Yeah, again, I don't love it. I don't love him. I think there are worse plays out there this week, though. But I'll tell you this. Like you said, you did mention Houston, which is true, and the week before that was Tennessee. These are guys that he knows very well, that he's played against his whole career. He made his Pro Bowl living eating against those teams. So, against a team like the Raiders, who he's not as familiar with, you might not get the same results. All
right, where are the big time guys that you're going with? Are you playing Justin Jefferson this week against that Tampa Bay pass defense? That guy's just a freaking animal.
Dude, Justin Jefferson is just the man. It's in a year where, I mean, it's quite possibly the best year we've had. It's without a doubt the best year we've had for rookie receivers since the Devontae Adams, OBJ, Brandon Cooks, Mike Evans, John Brown, the list goes on, year.
John Brown. But yes, the rest of them are pretty good.
And that's the year we took Eric Ebron.
Hey, Eric Ebron was that draft.
The Eric Ebron year.
There's also some other good players like Aaron Donald and Zach Martin and Ryan Shazier. There's some good ball players in that draft.
I don't know what to say.
You got really quiet over there.
I have nothing to say when you bring that up. But bottom line is, it's the best year we've had since then, and could turn out to be even better. We'll see. Time will tell. But the bottom line is, Justin Jefferson has proven to be the best of the bunch, and we're talking about Jerry Jeudy, CeeDee Lamb, Henry Ruggs, Chase Claypool, Brandon Ayuk, Michael Pittman, Henry Ruggs,
Denzel Mims,
Henry Ruggs. I mean, just the list goes on. The list goes
Well,
on.
actually, the list actually stops before Henry Ruggs.
But the bottom line is he's killing it. I mean, I think we all saw that stat. He's the players to have over 1,000 yards in their first 12 career games is Randy Moss, OBJ, and maybe there's one other guy. I think it was Randy Moss.
I don't know, but overall, just a monster.
Yeah, when it's you, Randy Moss, OBJ, and maybe one other guy, you're doing something right. The thing is he's going against a Tampa defense, and he's finally priced appropriately, right? I mean, they shot him up significantly since last week. The thing is, Tampa Bay does give up points to the receivers. They have a good defense, but they do give up points to the receivers. But $7,400, the way I'm building my lineup, I kind of would have had to choose between a Keenan Allen or a Justin Jefferson. And I love Keenan Allen this week. I know you do too.
Oh, yeah. I love Keenan Allen this week. I mean, how do you not? You have to expect a huge bounce back game. And then on top of that against Atlanta, I mean, it's what's there not to like about Keenan Allen this week? Let me ask you a couple lower price guys, a couple names. Let me know what you think. Denzel Mims, and this is not the homer in me, although I love Denzel Mims, but going up against Seattle, whose pass defense is just absolutely atrocious, and Tim Patrick, who is only at $4,200 and has proven beyond anything. I love Jerry Jeudy, and Judy's a stud. He's proven that he's the number one guy right now. With Courtland Sutton out, Tim Patrick is absolutely the number one target. Jeudy has been completely irrelevant so far.
I'll go Patrick, but let me let me give you a little homer love there. Instead of Mims, give me Crowder for $5,400 against Seattle.
Oh, yeah.
I mean, it's
PPR
just gonna
machine.
He's a PPR machine. He's gonna put up 20 points easy against the defense. Only $5,400. I don't know why he's priced so low. Obviously he's been hurt, but he's back. 20 points last week against Vegas. I expect the same production against Seattle this week.
Yep, I agree. And I'll bring this team also, Corey Davis. I wasn't big on Tannehill this week. I think he only throws the ball about 12 times. But I think Corey Davis has the potential to have a really good game against the Jaguars because I think he'll get most of those 12 touches. Again, the higher end guys. I mean, Tyreek Hill costs more than Patrick Mahomes this week, which is Chris. DeAndre Hopkins, I think I'm staying away from him. I love Hopkins. I have him in a lot of my leagues. I'm staying away from him because I just don't trust Tyler's arm right now. I'm a little worried about it. Tyler Lockett, who I think has the potential to have a good game. I'm not paying up to $7,200 to get him. I think it's a DK week. The Jets can't stop anybody, and I think it's going to be a blowout early. I think they'll run the ball a ton towards the end of the game. And Allen Robinson. Allen Robinson is going to be the go-to for who's ever throwing the ball at quarterback for the Chicago Bears. Again, going against that Pittsburgh Houston defense.
Yeah, I agree. I agree on those.
All right, we go to the tight end position. Your highest priced guys, as usual, Travis Kelce at $7,400. Darren Waller, who was just a man amongst boys last week at $6,800. George Kittle somehow still the number 3 tight end, even though he's on IR. And then your boy Hawkinson. So besides Hawkinson, what direction are you going this week? Is this the week you pay up for Travis Kelce?
Look, if you paid up for Travis Kelce, I'm not even going to say from the beginning of the season. Let's just, because this guy's just been effing believable. But let's say week 8 on, if you paid up for Travis Kelce, who has always been the most expensive tight end, even as his price got up, you have always hit your 3x on him plus, right? Like last week he was $7,300.
So consistent.
Last week he was $7,300. He got you 30 points, right? The week before that, or 2 weeks before that, $7,300. He got you 30 points. 2 weeks before that, $7,200. He got you almost 30 points. I mean, the guy's just a 30-point a game guy practically in PPR. Against Tampa in week 12, when he had a terrible game, he still got you 2x over that, right? He still got you 16 points on the $7,000 salary. I mean, against it's very rare for someone to average a 3x on their price.
That's what it comes down to. He's so consistent. He's so reliable.
Miami has a good defense this year. We've said it. We kind of said it all year.
It doesn't matter.
It doesn't matter. If you have the money, if you're going to pay up for him, you're going to have to go lower at receiver probably. But I mean, for $7,400, you're going to get 3x on that. You're going to get 25 points. So sure, pay up for Kelsey. The guy that I'm looking at though this week is your boy. I'm going to show him a little bit of love in that same game. Give me Mike Gesicki this week, right? I mean,
yeah.
Kansas City.
Back.
I mean, I'm in this week. Kansas City does not stop the tight end. They're going to have to throw the ball a lot. If Parker doesn't get thrown out of the game,
I looked this up. Let me tell you this, Josh.
Yeah,
because I looked this up yesterday because somebody brought it up to me. Because I've been wrong about Mike Gesicki. I was like, Mike Gesicki is going to be a top 5 tight end, and like I was so in, and he's disappointed all throughout the season. Mike Gesicki has like 3 good games this year, right? 2 like great games and 1 like good game. Mike Gesicki right now is the tight end 6 on the season, and that just says so much more about what is going on with the tight end position more than it says about Mike Gesicki.
You know something funny? I was looking at our Squib League. I have Robert Todman as tight end,
who by the way is my starting tight end of the week. Like that's a tight end I'm targeting.
So I like Todman a lot. I love him. I have him in a lot of season-long leagues, and I saw he was number 4. So I'm like, he's number 4 tight end overall. Okay, so number 1 is obviously Kelsey. Number 2 is Waller. I'm like, who could number 3 be overall in the season? It's my boy. It's Hawk. Hawk is the number 3 tight end this year. So
right. It's not like he's been like abnormally great this year.
Right.
It's that the tight end position is so pissed bad that guys who are just like, okay, have been extraordinary. It hasn't helped that Mark Andrews has basically fallen off a cliff for the middle part of the season. It doesn't help.
Well, the whole team sort of did.
Right. It doesn't help that Kittle got hurt. It doesn't help that Ertz has done absolutely nothing this year. It doesn't help that Gronk hasn't put up the numbers people thought Gronk would put up. Hunter Henry hasn't been what they thought. Noah Fant hasn't taken that next step. Jared Cook hasn't been that guy. Hayden Hurst, who everyone was like all in on Hayden Hurst, hasn't been that guy. So yeah,
I mean, but yeah. So either way, Gesicki just for this game. Again, 9 of those 11 targets has to do with the fact that Parker got thrown out for standing up for his teammate the way he did.
That was in the fourth quarter. The game is over anyway.
Yeah, but did he? Am I right that he had 3 catches after that? Maybe not. I don't know. But either way, is he going to have another 10 target game? He might not. But for $4,500 against the Kansas City defense, where they're going to have to be slinging the ball, I could easily see 15 points for the city.
Let me give you one more tight end before I want to go over defense real quick and our stack of the week. Before that, let me give you one more tight end. That's Cole Kmet at $2,900 for the Chicago Bears. We saw him getting more involved with the offense last week against the Lions. We've seen him getting more and more involved week in and week out. Tight end, as always, is a position that takes just a little bit longer to develop. And I think Cole Kmet has started to become that number 1 tight end for the Bears. He's broken through with all the 15 starting tight ends that they had. Cole Kmet is finally breaking through as that number 1 guy. And I think going forward, he's going to be their guy, $2,900 against, again, a really bad Houston defense. I like him as a punt play.
Josh, I mean, I'll just say this about Cole Kmet, which is we talk about, GPP lineup kind of being contrarian. I think a lot of people are going to be playing Cole Kmet this week. So if he doesn't perform, I mean, it hurts a little bit, but at $2,900, it doesn't really matter how he does because you have so much money to spend elsewhere,
Yep.
So it's a dart throw, but a one worth taking, I think.
Yep. All right. Let me ask you about defense real quick, because again, in DraftKings, you do need to play a defense. We don't really talk about it much. It's kind of like a punt thing, but I'm playing the Washington defense this week at $2,800 against San Francisco. San Francisco has a backup quarterback, and for the price point, look, the top ranked defense is ranked at $3,800, and that's the Saints against Philly. So it's not, and the bottom ranked is 2,000, which is your Lions against the Packers. My Jets cost more against Seattle. That's a joke also. But like your price range from top to bottom isn't astronomical. And that's why we don't really talk about it, because the defense isn't something that you have to plan around. You kind of see, all right, what do I have left over? All right, and slot something in that's a good matchup. But I'm going with the Washington football team this week. I think San Francisco is a great matchup. How the Dolphins are going to cost more or the same amount playing against the best offense in the world kind of surprises me. So give me that Washington football team's defense against the San Francisco 49ers.
Yeah, I mean, I like that a lot. The possibility of the Seattle defense here against your terrible team.
Yep.
I mean, Seattle's got a bad defense, but I
But
think the Jets
Darnold loves to give the ball to other people.
Right, but he does. The Jets have just a worse offense, so I think they're in play here too. There's a lot of good cheap options here. Not to. I also Cardinals. I like the Cardinals against the Giants as well.
Yep, Giants offense crap. Although I don't think Colt McCoy turning the ball over too much. He just likes to be accurate with it.
Yeah, I don't see him turning the ball over too much, but I also don't see him scoring too much.
Yep. All right, let's get to our favorite segment of the week, and that is our stacks of the week. Josh, where are you going with your stacks?
I'm coming back. You know what? I left a little. It's just like in blackjack, right? Blackjack, in theory, with blackjack, if you have an unlimited funding, you can always win in blackjack, right? Because if I play a hand for $5 and I lose, my next hand is $10. Play that same, keep going, keep doubling up, and eventually you're going to hit. I'm doing it. I don't care that I just lost on Herbert. I'm doubling up again. I'm coming back to Herbert. Give me Herbert. Give me Allen. Give me Mike Williams. Give me the whole team against Atlanta. I think it's a bounce back game for Herbert. It's a bounce back game for Allen. Look for Mike Williams to get involved this week as well. I'm excited for that game.
It's a great stack. Don't get me wrong. I love Allen. I love Herbert. Now I love Herbert fantasy. I don't think whatever. I'm not going to get it. But it's wrong because it's not the best stack of the week. Because the best stack of the week is being played right here in Detroit. And that's Aaron Rodgers and anybody else. It's Aaron Rodgers. And here's what's great about the Packers offense. You want to throw Aaron Jones in there? Awesome. Great. You're going to pay the price, but great. From the receiver position, you can either go top of the top with Devontae Adams, you can go kind of the middle of the pack with Alan Lazard, or you can take your shot with Marquez Valdez-Scantling at $3,900. Oh, and then on top of that, give me some Russ Tonyan at $4,200 at the tight end position as well. Give me all the Packers this week. They're just going to blow up against the Lions. Now, I know when it's all said and done, they're probably going to win like 14-3, and I'm just going to look like an idiot. But Aaron,
here's the thing. The only problem I have with your stack is give me Rodgers all day. He was in my quarterback list this week. The problem is he going to spread it out so much? And then, oh, by the way, don't forget Aaron Jones is going to run so hard up our asses, it's going to come out our mouth. Okay? So, I mean, it's just, taking all that into account, there's only 60 minutes. You know what I mean? Like, you got to, eventually, somebody, they're going to run out of people to score. And if it's spread too thin, I don't know that I love anybody specifically in that game except for Devontae Adams. But Aaron Rodgers is for sure going to destroy us. The question is everyone going to destroy us to the extent that it kind of just takes away from everybody's success?
The thing is, though, if you play Marquez Valdez-Scantling, there's a chance he goes 3 for 148 and 2. Like a realistic chance that he does that. And that at his price point, you can still go and play a Keenan Allen alongside him. Hell, you could even play Devontae Adams and Marquez Valdez-Scantling. I'd have no issue with that. I have lineups like that where I have two Packers receivers going. Because Rodgers is going to sling it around. He's going to throw for over 400 yards. He's going to throw for 4 touchdowns. And by the way, with doing that, Aaron Jones is still going to run for another 100 in the score. He's still going to have a great game.
Everyone 200.
Yeah. Oh, that's a lot of yards. That's like Derrick Henry type of numbers right there. I don't know if he gets there. Thank you for today's sponsors, TrophySmack.com. Look, it's playoff time. You're getting your trophies already. You're shining them up. Get your new trophy. Get your free ring with the promo code SQUIB. Make sure to go to TrophySmack.com and get that done. So for Josh, myself, the DFS detective, the courtroom is now closed.
Happy.
I mean, maybe listen just in case. Get it? The docket is gold. My pockets are swole. Stop, drop, and roll. At lock on the gold, it doesn't get old. Each episode, I just download. I'm just a fella that's hella intelligent now that I got me the code. Build me a yellow brick road. Hey, chillin', feelin'. How could I be this gifted? Millions, reelin'. frying up all of these fish sticks. Enter all these competitions, I ain't seen no competition. Justice served, can't stop the system. I suggest y'all stop and listen. Please rise, sit down. Pot is in session, get rich now. Invest in the best, yes, the investigator is nothing but fresh. Please rise, sit down. Pot is in session, get rich now. Go by the book, yeah, the lawyer is loyal, now come take a look. Go.